Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Saturday Morning Cartooning, the show where we take a look at cartoon characters from yesterday as well as today, learn a little bit about their history and the artists behind them, and then learn to draw them together. Today we're going to learn about that jolly happy soul with a corncob pipe and a button nose, Frosty the Snowman. Frosty the Snowman was a 1969 television holiday special produced by Rankin Bass Productions. Arthur Rankin Jr. and Jules Bass were an American production team, best known for their seasonal television specials like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. They were also pioneers of stop-motion animation, or as they call it, animagic. Like Rudolph, Frosty was inspired by a Christmas song. Songwriters Walter E. Rollins and Steve Nelson wrote the song Frosty the Snowman in 1950 and was first recorded by country crooner Gene Autry. With the song as a jumping-off point, character design and production began. Rankin and Bass wanted the look of a Christmas card, so they hired a real greeting card artist as production designer. Artist Paul Coker Jr. developed Frosty's cheerful, cartoonish look, as well as the other characters in the expanded story. The accomplished cartoonist went on to do some production designs on many other Rankin Bass holiday specials. Stage and screen actor Jimmy Durante provided the narration for the Christmas special, and stand-up comic Jackie Vernon provided the now iconic voice of Frosty himself. The Rankin Bass version of Frosty the Snowman has become a perennial favorite, returning in other specials like Frosty Returns, and even co-starred with Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer in Rudolph and Frosty's Christmas in July. Needless to say, many people had a hand in building Frosty the Snowman into the iconic holiday character he is today. Okay, let's get ready to draw Frosty the Snowman. Make sure you have your paper ready, and your pencil, and your eraser that you like. We're going to need a couple of colors this time around. We're going to need green, red, pink, light blue, gray, brown, and yellow. And make sure you have your permanent markers ready for when we start inking. Okay, let's take a look at our reference photo, and we see that actually this is going to be one of the easier characters that we've drawn because Frosty really doesn't have too much of a skeletal system. He's basically a pear shape. So his actual body composition is going to be pretty easy to construct. So we're going to start with our foundational shapes, and then we're going to move on to light pencil work. Afterwards, we're going to ink, and then we're going to color. So let's get started with some of the drawings here. Some of our foundational shapes. All right, his head is a basic circle. It's a little bit pointy at the top, just a little. The body is just another circle, just as if you were making a snowman at home. Again, light touch with your pencil at first. A lot of these lines, these pencil lines, we're going to be erasing, so make sure you start with a very light touch. Alright, so this arm is going to come out this way, and it's going to bend back towards the body into a fist that's going to be holding the broom eventually. This arm is going to go out this way, and it holds his corncob pipe. So the arms are basically just more little snowballs, and we will fix those up later. Remember, these are just foundational shapes to begin with. His legs are equally as simple. This one is going to come down this way. And then this one, if we take a look at the reference photo, again, a really good example of foreshortening. It looks a little bit stumpier on the two-dimensional surface of the paper, but it's actually facing the viewer. So we have the illusion that it's going back, the illusion of length. That's what this little line right here is for. So we can draw on this foot as if it is coming towards the viewer. All right, we'll put that little line right there. Okay, let's work on the head, but before we do that, let's put on his scarf. He's got this scarf going around. Part of it is going to get cut off by the fist over here, but it's going to sweep around It's going to come out this way. All right, and then there's a portion of it that comes from behind the part that's going around the neck, and it's coming out this way, and then it's flowing over this way. It's actually obscuring part of this arm. So this part is going to come out this way, almost as if it was like a tongue shape. And then it comes down and out. And then there's another little bit of it come down over here. But most of that is behind that part. Let's work on his face. Down a little bit. All right, let's put in his face lines. Most of his features are going to be closer to the top of the circle. If we look at our reference photo, look at how much empty space there is down on this part of his head. All of his features are in like the upper 3/4 of his face. So we're going to put a face line going down this way, but then put the horizontal face line a little bit further up than we normally would. And he's got these egg-shaped eyes. Button nose. Very simple face construction. And a smile with a cheek, only on one side. And open mouth. That will just shade like this for right now. We'll come back and we'll ink that in later on. Alright, we have to make it look like his hat is sitting on the top of his head. So we're going to just draw a line, cutting off the very top of the head. Alright, and that's going to be where the hat is sitting. Alright, then the rest of it is going to be drawn from, you're going to go down a little bit on the head, and then draw around that line, creating the brim of the hat. Go a little bit further. Let's clean up that line a little bit. Now remember, we're doing the Rankin Bass version of Frosty the Snowman, so this is based on the designs of the great Paul Coker Jr. He was a great cartoonist. He worked for Rankin Bass and greeting card companies, as well as Mad Magazine. And he had a real signature style. This is the perfect reason why you have to have a light touch with your pencil. If you want to adjust your line a little bit, it's good to have a light touch. And in fact, I'm going to clean that up just a little bit more. It's okay to use your eraser. That's what it's there for. All right. Actually, part of his hat, because I started so close to the top, might get a little bit cut off. And that's okay too. And then we're going to put a little circle here, right on top of the brim, and then sort of trailing off to the side, off the edge of the hat. This is going to be where we draw our flower. So you're going to draw the main circle. That's going to be where the petals come out. We can put a little circle inside, and that's going to be our guide for putting petals on. Now you can just add the petals on. And there you have it. You could also put the band of the hat. Just like that. Alright, so we did pretty good on that. Let's add in his pupils though. I love Paul Coker Jr.'s real simple designs, especially for Frosty. And a lot of the other Rankin Bass characters too. Plain little ovals, little black ovals for the pupils. Again, very simple design. Okay, let's work on the fist. What's interesting is, of course, he's a snowman, so he doesn't have a very realistically rendered fist. It's just 3 little fingers. You know, he's using that classic cartoon 3 fingers and a thumb here, as well as the one that's holding the corncob pipe as well. So let's put in those fingers. So using that almost like a oval marshmallow shape that we drew before. Just darken your line a little bit. We're going to put the fingers in. So that's the hand going into the first finger, then the second finger, and then the third finger going into a fist. And then the arm trails back, goes all the way around. Now, I'm still going fairly light with the pencil because I'm going to be drawing in the broomstick in a second. But before we do that, let's do the thumb. I'm just going to go right over the edge here. All right. Now I'm just going to lightly sketch in where the broom is going to go. So the stick is going to go up this way. And just in your mind's eye, just the line is going down into the fist here. Don't really press too hard, but just go to the other side of the fist where the wood of the broomstick would come out, and then just make the rest of the broomstick. And try to get it as straight as possible. You could use a ruler if you really want to, but sometimes getting out a ruler isn't an option, especially if you're trying to draw just a quick little snowman. All right, this is the bottom of the broom, and then there's going to be 2 lines going across that's going to be holding the bristles in, and then the bristles are going to come out this way. I'm just putting in sort of like an upside down bell shape right now. We're going to go back in and draw the individual bristles. Not quite individual. We're not going to be drawing in all the bristles of the broom, but we'll make it look a little bit more broom-like later on. Okay, put some lines going there. That's all we really need to do with that right now. We have this part of his arm right there, and that's what the whole beauty behind, especially Frosty the Snowman, is he's not a realistically rendered human because he's a snowman. He's a literal snowman, so we don't have to get everything perfectly realistic as a human being. So that's the really good thing about drawing Frosty, is we can get the point across that he's human shaped, but he's definitely not a full-fledged human. Okay, this arm is going to be bent up, and we're going to have a thumb going up here, but we're not going to see the rest of the thumb because the pipe is going to be in the way. So let's draw a little cylinder shape for the pipe. We're going to start with an oval that's sort of like floating over the fist, and then just this sort of like wonky little shape coming down this way, and that's the pipe. Let's do the fingers holding the pipe, and it's real simple. I'll show you on the reference photo. It almost looks like a paw. So it's like 1 swoop, 2 swoop, 3 swoop. Then there's that little line of the palm of the hand right there. So there's 1 swoop, 2 swoop, 3 swoop, line of the palm going into that thumb. Okay. And he actually drew on a little bit of texture there, so we could put little oval shapes, make it look like a corn cob. And then the pipe mouthpiece. It's basically just a stick. All right. Okay, and we can also put in the stripes of the scarf. What you're going to do is just use the shape of where the folds of the fabric are going to do the first couple of lines, And then you can start making them straight up and down like that. They don't have to be exact. Alright, and that is our pencil work pretty much done. We're going to do some inking next. Make sure you have an inking marker that you enjoy. I think a fine point will do good today. Remember, permanent marker can stain your clothes and any furniture that you're working on, so please be mindful of that. If you get it on your skin, it'll eventually come off, but please be careful around your clothes and furniture. You'll have a real hard time getting it off if you get it on there. Alright, so let's begin our inking. And my motto is, think before you ink, because there's certain lines we're not keeping. The big one we're not keeping is that face line. Make sure you don't ink your face line. You won't be able to erase permanent markers, so be very mindful of what you are inking. So let's start with the hat. It's just that line going across. And then we're going to do the head, because I want to make sure that that head is in place before we do the rest of the hat. Right, and might as well get that scarf done as well. So this is the part that's going out of the middle. Remember, like that tongue shape we were talking about. Alright, and then this is the part that's wrapping around the neck. Okay. That's that second bit of scarf. That's tucked behind the first bit of scarf. Alright, and that's all I'm going to do of the scarf right now, because I want to get the rest of the arm in first. But let's finish up the face and the hat. Let's do the hat first. Let me do that flower section. Individual petals. And we can actually color this in black, because the band is all black. Okay, looks good. Let's move on to the face. Part of, very subtle, but part of the eye on this side is cut off by the nose. So we're going to draw the nose in first, and then that eye. It's got a little gleam in his nose, and then black for the pupils. That's the inside of his mouth. We can do all black. Alright. Let's do this hand so that we can do the broomstick. I'm stopping right there with that line because I want to put in the top of the broomstick. And actually, I should have penciled this in, but the top of the broomstick, it looks like it's coiled, and then it's the stick. And then there's those two bits, those two lines that are going across like that, actually look like pieces of straw. So we're going to draw them in that way. So we're going to have one, and then another one, just like that. And then I'm drawing in those individual bristles. Just to make it look a little bit more broomy. And some lines going down this way, accentuating the bristles. We could probably put a couple up there too. Alright, let's move on to this arm. So that's part of his belly. We don't see this line because it's being cut off by the scarf. But we'll see this arm going up into the corncob pipe. Remember, here's our swoops again. 1, 2, 3, a little bit of the palm. And then here is corncob pipe cylinder. And then little ovals on the inside just to accentuate, give a little bit of texture. It's still very simple. It's a very simplified look. And then this arm going down. All right, let's do this broomstick here. And then just these simple lines. Now remember, we want his legs to look like they're attached to this main circle here, so we're not going to ink this line or this line. We want it to look like it's all one piece, like it is right here. So when we ink that, we're going to go down, we're going to go a little bit inside the leg and then stop. Alright, and then we're going to do a little bit inside the leg there. And we can do the same there as well. Alright, so now we can ink in that simple leg design. Remember, here's our foreshortened foot, the one that's facing the viewer. And then a little line right there, just to accentuate that fact too. Alright, oh, we should ink in the line separating the colors in his scarf. Those do not have to be exact. Okay. So basically our inking is done. So let's take our eraser and erase all of our original pencil lines. Okay. So we have our original pencil lines erased, and it looks like I inked everything I was supposed to ink, so we're in good shape. So let's begin the coloring process. Let's start with his hat. His hat is gray, so everything that we didn't already color black, go ahead and color in gray. Okay. He has a pink flower, and the middle of it is blue. So we're going to start with the pink petals. And then the middle of it is blue. Alright? We're going to be going back to that blue in a little bit, so hold on to it. Alright. His nose, of course, is red. It's actually very easy to color in a snowman because you're only coloring in his features. Nice red nose. Now normally I would keep the gleam white just to accentuate the shininess of it, but in Paul Kolker's design, if I can get a little bit closer, you can see the gleam is colored in red as well. So we're going to do the same thing. Let's leave it red. Alright, let's do the red sections, since we have red. Let's do the red sections of the red and green scarf. So we're going to start with one piece and then just alternate your colors. So if I did red here, I'm going to skip one and then do red here. Remember, we're alternating red and green. Okay, we can skip that. Let's do this one, red. Okay, Let's do this one red. Remember, this is the part that's going down. Remember that tongue section. So if that's red, that'll be green. This will be red. That'll be green. This will be red. And that'll be green. Let's do this one green, and this one will be red. And now that we got our final red piece done, let's just get the green done so that the scarf is complete. Okay. Let's do the brown of the broomstick. We can also do brown on the coils here and this section right here that's tying the bundle of bristles together. And then the bristles we're going to do yellow. Alright. Let's do the corncob pipe brown. Could also use yellow, I guess. Alright, remember I said hold on to that blue? We're going to make him look a little frostier. Let's give him some blue highlights. Just along one side of the body. Just use your blue and very lightly put a little bit of blue color on the side of his head here. And maybe along his cheek over there. Or wherever there might be shadow. Here, maybe here. Along the edges. Just giving it, again, I might have used the word plasticity before. It's just the illusion of three-dimension. Make it look a little bit more lively. And maybe just a little bit underneath his scarf over here. Just makes it look a little bit more realistic, or as if he exists in the real world. And there we have it, Frosty the Snowman.